mom and dad to print out the night before. So if you look behind me at our classroom page, this isn't, how do I fix, there it goes. If you look behind me at the classroom page, you'll see if we go in, oh, I'm at the wrong one. Okay, so we'll go into our classroom page. I posted some new books up there. We'll go in, and then you'll go to this week, to our home page, and then we'll come to this week. And on this week, for March 15th, tomorrow, there's a number path template to print out for math, and there's a template to print out for our stone soup for listening and learning. So you can click here, and I'll show you what it looks like. You'll have to click download stone soup, but you'll have this, which is your stone soup and all the vegetables that go in it, and you could even cut this out and fill it in, and we'll do that tomorrow. But it's 3 pages that we can do. If you want to go ahead and color it the night before, you're welcome to do that. So there's 2 templates tomorrow, the number path template and the stone soup template. And the next day you don't have a template to print out, but Friday we have more. But tomorrow there's 2 templates to print out. So I just wanted to make us aware of that so we don't forget. Okay, let me pull up our PowerPoint for listening and learning. I guess I gotta pull it up over here. Sorry, hold on. I thought I had it up. Colonial towns and townspeople. Thank you, friends, for being so patient while this pulls up. Oh, hold on, this isn't the one. Let me do it one more time. File. Colonial towns and townspeople. Give it just 1 second and it'll pull up. Thank you for being so patient, because it's taking it a minute. While we're waiting for it to pull up, let's talk for a minute about what we've learned so far. Today, we're going to listen carefully to find out. Here, let me go all the way down to the bottom. We're going to listen carefully to find out whether tradespeople wanted to feed soldiers at first and how the soldiers were able to make stone soup. So we're going to read a story today. It's a fictional story about 3 hungry soldiers who march into town hoping to get some food to eat from the people in the colonial town. One of the words we're going to hear about in the story is delicious. Delicious describes a food that tastes or smells good. So if something's delicious, show me how you act when you, let's pretend like we just took a bite of something delicious. What do you do? Oh, I like Carolyn's. Carolyn's going, mmm. Or some people go, yummy, yummy, yummy. Or some people, they're pretending like you're licking your fingers. So all those are things you do when something is yummy and delicious. The apple pie smells and tastes delicious. Okay. Our next word is curious. In the story, the blacksmith says, I'm curious about this stone soup. Curious means excited to know or learn something. You might be curious as to what this story is. You might be excited and ready to learn about this story. Curious. Okay, very good. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. Is it showing on there? For some reason it's not showing up here. Here it goes. Okay. Let's listen. 3 soldiers, Henry, George, and Lucas, were marching home from the war. Marching is similar to walking, but you're moving at a steady pace, and each step is the same. Soldiers tend to march. They had been marching for many days, and they expected to march for many more days before they finally made it home. They were cold and tired, but most of all, they were hungry. Look over there, just over those trees, Henry said, pointing. I see a church steeple. Do you see the church steeple? It's super hard to see. Let me show it to you. Oh, you do. A steeple is a church that has a tall, almost pyramid part at the top with a cross on the top, so people can see it from far away. I see a church steeple. There must be people, there must be a town over there. Perhaps the good people will offer us some food. Good idea, said George. Let's go, said Lucas. The 3 soldiers marched towards the town, holding their stomachs and hanging their hands because they were so hungry. They didn't know it, but a little girl saw them coming. She turned and ran to the blacksmith shop. Do you guys see a sign for the blacksmith shop? Do you see the anvil on the sign? That's the picture they use for their town sign, just like the ones we made. She banged on his door. Blacksmith, blacksmith, she said. 3 soldiers are coming. They look hungry. We must offer them food. The blacksmith didn't turn his head. He continued pounding on a big iron pot he was making. I have no time to be offering food to hungry soldiers. I must get this pot finished or I will not get paid. If I do not get paid, I cannot buy food, and my family and I will be hungrier than those soldiers. Did the blacksmith offer food to the soldiers? Yes or no? No. If you say so, said the girl. Then she ran to the carpenter's shop and banged on that door. Okay. Carpenter, carpenter, she said. 3 soldiers are coming. They look hungry. We must offer them food. The carpenter didn't turn his head. He continued measuring wood using a square. We learned what a square was, didn't we? It's like a ruler that's in this shape. It has a corner on it. One side goes like this and the other side goes like this. Hungry soldiers, he said, without much sympathy. I have no time to be offering food to 3 hungry soldiers. I must get this table done, or I will not get paid. Then I will not have enough food to feed my family. Did the carpenter offer the soldiers some food? No. If you say so, said the girl. Then she turned and banged on the baker's door. Do you see the bakery? Right there. Baker, baker, she said. 3 soldiers are coming. They look hungry. We must offer them food. Huh, he said. I suppose you think I will sell it to them, but I will not give it away for nothing. I must eat too, you know. Did the baker offer the food? There he is in the window. So the girl went from shop to shop. She asked everyone in the town square if they could feed the hungry soldiers, but they all were too busy doing their own jobs to offer any help. They told the girl that they did not have enough to feed their own families, let alone 3 hungry soldiers. Finally, Henry, George, and Lucas stumbled into the town square. They were colder, more tired, and hungrier than ever. They looked around. Nobody had come out to see them. "Hello," said the little girl who had been watching the soldiers from across the town square. The 3 soldiers turned. "Ah," said Lucas, "are you the welcoming committee?" When Lucas asks this question, he's making a joke because a welcoming committee is usually a group of people, not just one little girl. They usually come and welcome or greet a visitor. "I am sorry," said the girl. "Everyone in town is very busy now with their own work. They cannot feed you." "Well then," said Lucas, "we shall have to feed ourselves." He reached down to the ground and picked up a large stone at his feet. "We shall make stone soup. We make it all the time where I come from." "Can you make a soup from these stones if you put it in a pot of water?" I see a lot of people going no. Some people are saying yes. I don't know how you make a soup out of stones. "Stone soup?" asked the girl. "But you can't make stone soup from nothing but stones." "Of course you can," said Lucas. "Stone soup is the best soup in the world. But the best part is that all we need to make it are 3 large stones and 1 large pot of water. That's all we need." What do the soldiers want from the townspeople? Who could raise their hand and answer that question? What do the soldiers want from the townspeople? Jonyan?
Water.
Well, they want water for the stone soup, but they also, when they first came at the beginning, they said, "Oh, look, I see a steeple. That must be a town and people may have food." Did any of the tradespeople help the soldiers by giving them food? Not even the baker. Why did the tradespeople feel like they couldn't help the soldiers? Do you remember? Adeline?
Yeah, they wanted money to get food.
Very good. They said, "We have to feed our own families. We have to keep on doing our job so we can make money, so we can buy food to feed our own family." Do you think the soldiers will be able to feed themselves by making stone soup? Thumbs up if you do, thumbs down if you don't. I see a lot with thumbs up, but I also see some people with thumbs down. I'm going to put a thumbs down. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I've made soup for my family and I had to have ingredients. Like one time I made potato soup and I needed potatoes and heavy cream and cheese and salt and pepper. I don't know how you would make soup from just stones. Okay. Here's a stone, said George. And here's another, said Henry. Perfect, said Lucas. Then if we could just find a large iron pot, we could make the soup ourselves, and we wouldn't bother anyone.
Kate, are you going to change the picture?
I will. What tradesperson sells an iron pot? Ryan?
The blacksmith.
The blacksmith. I know where we can get an iron pot, said the girl. She ran to the blacksmith shop, but she didn't even have to knock. The blacksmith had been listening through the door. I am curious about this stone soup, he said. I'll lend you my pot. So remember, curious means he's excited to learn how they're going to make this soup. He and the girl carried it out to the town square. Excellent, said Lucas. Now we just need to fill this pot with water and we'll start our stone soup cooking. We won't have to bother anyone else. Several people popped out of their houses carrying buckets of water. They dumped the water into the pot. The carpenter popped out of his shop. Do you need some firewood? He asked. He carried an armload of wood to the square and began building a fire. Why would the carpenter why would the carpenter have wood to give to the soldiers? Russell?
Because the carpenter used wood to make discs and some things. It's not wood.
That's right. Carpenters use wood to build houses and furniture and chairs. Excellent. George and Henry and the girl each dropped a stone into the pot. Everyone watched Lucas stir the soup. Said Lucas, it already smells so delicious, and we really don't need anything else. But what? Asked the girl. This stone soup looks a tad thin, said Lucas. Stone soup is best when it has a bit of barley and some meat in it. I have some barley, said the baker, popping out of his shop. Barley is a type of grain that was grown during colonial times. It's still eaten today in some soups. He bought a bowl full of barley and tossed it in the soup. I have a side of beef that I just chopped, said the butcher. A butcher is a colonial tradesperson who cuts meat. He came out with a plate piled high with cubes of beef and dropped it into the pot. Ah, said Lucas, stirring and sniffing. The soup looks so much better now. But, oh dear. What? Asked the townspeople. The stone soup would be even better with a little bit of onion and a pinch of salt. The grocer brought onions and salt. Grocer is a storekeeper who sells food. Other townspeople turned up carrying a few items from their homes: potatoes, turnips, carrots, and celery. All of these were chopped up and tossed in the pot. Excellent, said Lucas. He stirred and sniffed and then looked a little and took a little taste. He stood up straight. All the town people watched and waited. Finally, Lucas said, "It's perfect!" The town people sighed with pleasure. "Except," Lucas said, "I forgot one very important thing." What? 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 The townspeople asked. What important thing do you think Lucas forgot? Nicole?
Maybe ketchup?
Ketchup? What do you think, Smriti?
The stove.
The stove? Well, they did start a fire to cook it under.
No, the stove.
Oh, the stones. I think they put those in at the beginning. Ryan?
Is it the plate or the bread?
The plate or the bread? Let's see. Stone soup is best when it is shared. The townspeople cheered. They brought out tables and chairs. They brought out bowls and cups and spoons. They brought out fresh apple cider, loaves of crusty bread, and fig pies. They talked and laughed with the soldiers and ate and ate and ate. They ate every last bit of stone soup, all except the 3 stones which sat at the bottom of the pot. "Thank you for teaching us to make stone soup," said the girl. She peered into the pot. That means she looked into the pot. "But the stones are still there. Why didn't they get cooked into the soup?" "That's odd," said Lucas. He winked at the girl and whispered, "Perhaps you were right in the first place. Perhaps you can't make soup from stones after all." With their stomachs full and spirits raised, the 3 soldiers waved goodbye to the girl and the townspeople, and they continued on their long march home. So, the end. Did they really make soup out of stones? No. Why didn't they make soup out of stones, Anya?
Because the stones weren't cooked in.
The stones were there, but what made the soup? Who could answer that? What made the soup? Are we?
The water, the pinch of salt, and the onion?
Yeah, all the ingredients that they put in. The beef, the water, the potatoes, the onion, the carrots, the beets, all of those things made the soup. Just like when I made my potato soup, I chopped potatoes, I added heavy cream, water, salt and pepper, cheese. All the ingredients made the soup. So the people...
I think soup, I eat like soup today at, when it's lunchtime, I drink soup.
So by everyone working together in the town, that's what made the soup. Everyone coming together and contributing a little bit from their homes made a wonderful feast for the town. All right, I'm going to ask you some questions. Who was the only townsperson who met the soldiers when they came to town? Who was the only townsperson who met the soldiers when they came? Ryan?
Is it the door?
The little girl. You're right.
Is it the toy persons or people? I think it's the people, not the toy person.
Well, a tradesperson talks about one person. When you're talking about more than one person, you say people.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Who let the soldier borrow an iron pot to make the soup? Who let the soldier borrow an iron pot? Smriti?
The blacksmith.
Excellent. Why did the blacksmith let them borrow his pot? Why did he do that? Estelle?
Because he was curious about what they were going to make.
Exactly. He was curious. He was excited to learn about how you made soup out of 3 stones. Which ingredients went into the soup? Who can name some of the ingredients? Let's go back and think. Carolyn?
Ham.
Yeah, the beef.
And carrot.
Yep.
And bread.
It was the 3 stones, barley, which is a type of wheat, the meat, the onions, salt, potatoes, turnips, carrots, and celery all went into the soup. Out of all the ingredients, which ingredients could not be eaten? What ingredients could you not eat? Russell?
Flour.
Not the flour, not the grain, but the stones. You can't eat stones, can you? Why were the stones left in the pot? Anya, why were the stones left in the pot?
Because nobody could eat them and nobody wanted to eat them.
Correct. You can't eat stones. Do you think the stones in the water alone could have made that soup? Thumbs up if you think only the stones and water could make the soup. Thumbs down if you... Right, no, not only stone and water, that can't make a soup. What made the soup was everyone in the town contributing ingredients. Do you think the townspeople also had their spirits raised or felt happy after they ate the town soup? Yeah, I do too. If you were a colonial tradesperson in that town and the soldiers visited, would you have given them food right away? Why or why not? Why would you have given them food? Nicole, why would you have given them food?
Because I want to help people, but not just say no. I should not think about my family. I should think about those persons that they need help.
That's wonderful, Nicole. Yeah. Also, I understand why the tradespeople said, I can't help them. I need to make money so I can feed my family. But I also like what Nicole said. So maybe if each tradesperson only gave a little bit, they could still feed their family and finish their job. But if they just gave a little bit, if they all work together, it turns out to be a lot. Okay. In the read aloud, you heard, hungry soldiers, the carpenter said, without much sympathy. Say sympathy. Sympathy is a feeling of sorrow or sadness for someone else. When I see someone who is hurt, I have sympathy for them. Think about a time you felt sympathy for someone else. Think about a time when someone else had sympathy for you. Let's use the word sympathy when we tell about it. I had sympathy for my neighbor when he fell and skinned his knee. Can anyone else use the word sympathy in a sentence? Estelle.
I need you to say when it's you.
No, you have to come up with your own. Carolyn. had sympathy for your grandpa?
No.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Smriti, can you use the word sympathy in a sentence?
When I was reading in Basket, it told me that if I got 100 stars, I could help people get food, and so I had sympathy, and I had to eat. I took the iPad with me and did it while I was eating.
Okay, very good. So you had sympathy for other people by giving your stars to people that had none. That's a good example of sympathy. Ryan, do you have an example of sympathy?
I have sympathy for people that don't have houses to live in.
Oh, that's excellent. I have sympathy for people that don't have houses or food. Excellent. Okay. Now we're going to play a game. If I say something that would make you feel sympathy, you're going to give me a thumbs up. If I say something that would not make you feel sympathy, you give me a thumbs down. A baby bird fell out of the nest. Would you have sympathy or not have sympathy? Right, you would have sympathy. Today is Lucy's birthday and no one remembered. Would you have sympathy for Lucy or would you not? Yes, you would. The cow had plenty of grass to graze in and eat. Would you have sympathy or not have sympathy? No, you wouldn't need to have sympathy because he has plenty to eat. Jose lost his favorite ball. Yeah, you would have sympathy for that. Gerald won 3 new books. You would not need to have sympathy for Gerald because he won 3 books. Susie fell off her bike and hurt her arm. Yes, we would have sympathy for Susie. Excellent job. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to read a different version of Stone Soup, and we're going to look at a Venn diagram to compare today's version and tomorrow's version. We're going to compare the two, and we're going to make our own Stone Soup. So don't forget to use your printout tomorrow. My battery is running low, so I might have to go. But if you want to stay on and talk to me, I'll talk to you for a little bit. Hopefully my battery won't cut off. Okay. Bye, friends.
Bye, Susie. Okay.